Hello, this is Antonio De Benedetto from ADB Advisors. I wanted to do a quick video showing you my indirect tax calculation software. It's a SaaS hosted based system that's lightweight for users to collect their indirect tax. I've essentially provided all the reporting information you need in order to calculate and report your information to the states. I'm starting off here in the dashboard just to show you some of the features. And what I just did was I entered the organization org ID, which is just your ERP ID, and you can do that for various entities that are set up in the software itself. So you just get these quick snapshot, and just wanted to show you here we have this great bar chart that, as you see, is dynamic with the screen size, that you can get a rough view of where your sales tax liability lies quickly. You can see Texas has 1.97 million roughly in tax, Massachusetts, and so on. It kind of gradiates based on total dollars. Alaska has nothing, and we have some Quebec and whatnot. The great thing about this is you can download this as PDF, CSV, XLS. You can view the data source. You can print this chart. You can send this to whomever you need. You can view the source data. If you have like 50 states, and this is kind of huge, what you can do is drill into the particular locals and get a more in-depth view based on that, and you can quickly zoom out or view all. You can see everything all over again. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to get a 1 month view. This is a rolling month, so you see your current period liability here in a bar chart form. Next, I'm just going to show you this gross sales area for those who are very aware of the Wayfair decision and how states no longer require physical presence to collect sales tax, but kind of base it on gross sales. You can get a quick snapshot here of where your monthly gross sales are for a given period. Your relative percentages here in a pie chart, or I have this bar chart here which shows all the various amounts kind of broken out in bar chart format, whatever you prefer. One place to have all your information that you need to do those nexus reviews quickly, to see your sales tax liability quickly. The next little area here is a notification section, which I've created so we could, send you little updates as to what's going on. We have, an update schedule, and give you the date and push those out on a monthly basis, so you know when there's down times, down periods for updates and whatnot. And the system is updated constantly. We can push out updates at any given time. Very light SQL database format where we can push things out to users very quickly. Lightweight. You can have this locally. You can be hosted in your own environment, specific to your work. That's how small of a footprint this has compared to other competitors in the space. I've added a little task area here where you can quickly make notes. Once you complete them, you can check them off. You can edit your notes, just add whatever you want, save that, or delete them, whatever you prefer. Essentially, we can create as many tasks here as you need for your monthly compliance, or just review, just for reminders with respect to tax. And here I just have a state tax liability chart where you can kind of get a sense of from 0 to 10 million, like where your liability lies. So Texas is pretty high, Mass is pretty high, Kansas a little smaller, and Washington a little smaller. But you kind of get a sense based on this gradient quickly. And just to kind of augment to that and give you a really in-depth view, you can kind of see your taxable sales in all states here in this chart, as well as your exempt and your total tax due. So if you need to tell AP, okay, what do we currently have? We're at about 6.5 million tax due. I can export that to CSV. You can import that to systems. You can do whatever you like. Send that to people. Make it very flexible in that regard. And you can see your high states taxable is 14 million here, but you have 910 in tax. Here's your 1.94 Massachusetts, 1975 in Texas, and so on. In Quebec, there's no tax, but you do see Canadian provinces here. So this number here, as a quick tie back, you can see that will tie to this number here. So this is real time. These charts do tie to one another. Definitely have some good amounts here that you can leverage and show other people. Even gross taxable here matches to that chart because there's no exempt, but you can kind of tie back. It's all information in one place that you could readily leverage without having to kind of go here, there, and everywhere and go through 15 steps to get this data, or ask a DBA, or ask us or whomever to run this information for you. It exists here. And further, I'll show you some neat ad hoc reporting that you can do as well. The next thing I just want to show you is calc import. Very straightforward. I have an import template in CSV that you can upload, ship from, ship to, zip code, amounts. Very straightforward. You just navigate to the location, pull the information, import. It'll run through. It'll tell you it's complete. I don't do an output view here only because it can be quite long. What you'd have to do is just go to reports, and we have 3 different types of reports here. We have a detailed, which kind of is on a transactional basis, state totals, so you can see state totals, or just kind of aggregated by local, so you get a more truncated view and maybe not as huge. And with these views, you will get in-depth information as far as the local for reporting. So I'm going to click my radio button. And to note, we can add more reports. This is just the 3 that I came up with initially. So I'm just going to look at this organization. That's your org ID that's set up. Created date, I'm going to do 10-1. And I use created date because that's important for reporting when you're actually trying to commit the transaction to the audit table. You want to focus on that, not necessarily the invoice date. So I hit submit. Now, a lot of information here, I understand that. What's great is you can export it to CSV, export it to text, whatever you need. If you want, you can even filter data. I have filters built in place, so let's say 6.5, you can filter on 6.5. We can kind of build this as you like. What other thing is neat is you can really filter. You can get rid of columns. Like I've hid the district columns. If you wanted to hide freight amount, you could hide freight amount, and it would effectively make this a smaller chart. Or you could just export it, and you can delete columns you don't want, or you could hide them, and we give you your totals down below. So again, a lot of good data in this chart. Very useful. Just show you quickly the same report but aggregated. We saw that one local in Washington. It rolls up that one local into one line because it was only one local. Same exact data but aggregated into the one line based on this locality. So same information, just a little different flavor. Really useful. And if you don't like this, you can go quickly into ad hoc here just to show you the ad hoc reporting. It takes a second because it's a separate database that is pulling. Hopefully I remember my password. Okay, so I'm going to open, kind of edit my report. Let me see, select your table. So I can look at my audit table now and customize. These are the columns. You can pick whatever columns you want. To give you a good idea, you can select your column view. You can filter your data to say, do all kinds of things. Here, this chart, depending on what it does a summary view. You can do a summary view depending on what you're looking at. Like here I have ship to state is not empty. You could do, ship to state equals X, or created data. You can do whatever you want. It's really flexible. This little quick summary here just shows your total tax for these various states that we were looking at. Again, this is not necessarily the most current. Then you can export this to a file separately, so you can create your own tables, you can create your own charts. It's a very powerful tool. Save this off. I'm probably only going to give you access to the audit table because I think that's all most folks need to do their reporting and get quick views. Everything else is more proprietary. But just wanted to show you that real quick. You have the ability to create your own custom reports if you don't like. Apologize. All right, sorry about that. So we talked about ad hoc. Next, I just want to show you the tax calculation engine real quick here. This is a calculator where you can just run transactions. I'm just going to run a quick transaction for you for sake of time. We'll just do Massachusetts. And mind you, this is on a local machine, so when we deploy this, it will be hosted with a lot more processing power, speed and whatnot. This is just more for demonstration purposes. So right now the system's competing with resources. But similarly, you'll see that you have this output that you can kind of view, export, manage your columns, your view. So I've kind of truncated this view just to see certain items. But you notice here we have codes for the given localities, so you can actually report based on those codes. The calculator has a lot of great information that you can pull from and utilize. So the other thing we have to, let me get back to the dashboard, is a help desk. If you had questions, you could log into the help desk and send us stuff. We just have to set you up as a user. Very useful. All in one place. You don't have to go crazy. If you want to keep this specific to an org, we can do that for you. Great customizations. We've added a calendar feature where essentially you can, I have right here, I have a note for funding on the 8th. You can move that around if you like. A lot of flexibility. You can see your lists. You can see it on a daily view. Or if you want to see the week, you can see it on a weekly view. So, and we could push out due dates for you if you'd like. Really great stuff. Just quickly, org setup, very straightforward. You set up your organization here so it's in the system. You could search for your org just to see what your info is. I'm going to do that quickly for the sake of time. Here's your information for your organization. You could edit that, export that, whatever you like. Nexus similarly. Let's say you want to set up United States. Put your org ID in here. Is it blended or not for those states that have blended, which unfortunately a lot of them are going away. If you want all states, you can just select all your states. I can reset this. Go to Canada. Sorry, reset. Reload. Canada. There we go. You have all your Canadian provinces. You can do that for the Canadian provinces. You can also search for Nexus here to see what your Nexus profile is. Submit. This is quite huge, but again, a lot of information. You could export this to CSV, export to text. A lot of detail here. And again, we have these great filters on here. So if you want to filter based upon, city, you can search by city here. You can search by city here. You can pick your cities. You can filter on your state here just to see what state you have. Okay, I'm in Alabama. I can close out that filter. Brings you back. So, and like we saw before, you can hide your columns as necessary. That's the majority of the tools we have quickly, but we're always adding new things. Before I go, I definitely just want to show the calculator real quick. This is a JSON REST API, which you can easily integrate with your ERP system. Just have some basic detail here for Texas, Lucas, and I'm just going to process that through the API calc. This requires authorization to utilize this. You need a code from me. So I'm just going to press send. It'll take a few seconds. Pretty quick for running on a local machine. Again, better hardware, better speed, but just so you can kind of get a sense of what the product looks like. So I'm just going to filter the data so you see it in that JSON format, which would come back to your organization. And you're going to have this kind of data here. You can see you have your total tax rate, you have the tax type, sales, sellers use, consumers use, because right now we're just running a sale transaction, could be a purchase. You actually have all the locals. There's a city name, there's a city reporting code, there's a district name, district reporting code, district rate, district tax, all the things you need. You could run the custom reports to get it. This is really lightweight, quick, perfect for an organization who just wants to kind of get up and running, have all the rates. We can customize data for taxability. I've been doing this for 20 years. Know the complexities of sales use tax. This has a lot of detail, a lot of information. So if you have any questions, please give me a call. ADB Advisors, adbadvisors.com. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Antonio De Benedetto, and I worked really hard to bring this solution to you. Have a nice day.